welcome to the latest episode of From Brian's Brain with my good friend, Brian LeBlanc. For those of you who've been following Brian or know Brian well, you know that one of his favorite places in the whole world is Disney World. And he just got back from yet another trip to Orlando and Disney World. So Brian, we'd love to have you share your latest adventure.
Okay, well, thank you, Joan. Thanks again for having me to talk and so forth, because it does really fill the it just makes me feel good, when we talk. As Joan said, one of my favorite places to go has been Disney World. I started going there in 1975, when it was only 4 years old. And I've been too many times to count. Well, this last one was a little bit different. Number one, we had Emma with us. So that's our granddaughter. We also had two friends from up in New York City, from Inspired Memory Care. And one of them brought their daughter, who was just about Emma's age. So that was great. So, it started out fine. Everything was just as I remembered it. I started taking pictures and it was just great. And we walked around, we went on some rides. I didn't go on any rides this time around because of the fact that I knew if I did, it was going to bother my not awareness, but my unsteadiness, because that kind of happens to me now, especially when I stand up from a chair and so forth. I have to hold on to things now. But what happened afterwards, we went to go get something to eat. And it was a very familiar place for me in the Magic Kingdom. It was the Starlight Cafe. It was, they had so many people there. But, we were sitting there and, we got our food ordered and all that kind of stuff. And then I had to visit the restroom. So I got up and I went to the restroom, but when I came out of the restroom, I had no idea where I was. I was turning left and right. One time I walked into the kitchen. Another time I walked out and went the wrong way. And I finally figured out which way to go, but I still could not find the table. I couldn't find my friends. I couldn't find Maureen. And come to find out, she always tells me to call her when I'm in need. Well, she just happened to be using the restroom at the same time that I was. So, and she had her phone on lock, so she wouldn't have heard the phone ring anyway. So I started to wander around looking for anything or any person that looked familiar. And I just felt myself just going down, 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 to the point where I wasn't able to speak. And one of the people that was with us, Nettie Harper, she's the one that saw me first. And so she got up from the table and came and walked over to me and just, took me by the hand and brought me back to the table. And Maureen was getting back to the table at the same time. And I was trying to eat, but I couldn't eat because of what had happened. I was completely immersed in a fog. And I know that happens a lot when I'm home, but when I'm outside, when I'm in a place where I don't really know, and here comes a helicopter that I'll tell you about before we came on. But anyway, it was scary. because I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know where I was, how I was going to get out, and so forth. So they called. I'm going to let this pass real quick. Sorry, folks.
That's life.
There we go. Yeah. And so we called one of the cast members over, and then they went and got someone, and they came back, and they said, "Okay, we have someone coming over with a stretcher, and we'll wheel you out." And all I can remember is saying, "No, I am not going out on a stretcher. I can still walk some." And they said, "Well, how about a wheelchair?" And I said, "Great." So they went, they got the wheelchair, and then it was myself, Maureen, Emma, and Nettie came along with us, and they drove us from Magic Kingdom back to our hotel, made sure that everything was good and so forth. But you know, after that experience, I've realized that I've always been worried about the things that I'm not able to do as I age, and how, and as when the Alzheimer's start taking over my brain and so forth. Well, this was one of those things. This was one of those times where I told Maureen, I said, "Maureen, I said, I can't come back here anymore." I said, because it's just not the same. I wanted it to be something special for Emma. I wanted it to be something special for me. I said, but it didn't turn out that way. And, you know, like I said, I don't know if I said that, Maureen does not like Disney World at all because of the crowds and so forth. So she was kind of happy about it. And it just took a lot to let those words come out of my mouth. But I knew that if I did go back again, I would probably wind up doing the same thing, and probably worse. So I'm glad that I still have the mental ability to make decisions for myself. And this is one of the things that was bittersweet, that I never thought that those words would come out of my mouth. But I'm not only doing it for myself, but I'll do it for Maureen as well. So that was my experience to Disney World.
Well, thank you, Brian, so much for sharing that. It has to be hard. Letting go is always hard. And it's a part of aging. We know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you don't necessarily have to have, you know, vascular dementia and Alzheimer's and type 2 diabetes. And you know, I can make my list go on forever, but it's just, it's hard. I don't care how, you know, what you're living with. It's hard to go to say you're not going to go back to a place that meant so much to you for decades. But that means that there are other places for us to explore, and that we're already starting to plan that.
And Brian, that's the beauty of what you share with all of us, and we are so grateful for that you see the reality of this letting go, but you also don't give up. You look for that new reality, that new something special, because we all know we don't ever stop growing, we don't ever stop learning, and you live that for all of us, and you share that. So thank you so very much for these incredible words of wisdom.
You're very welcome, and I look forward to seeing you in Colorado. We're very excited to be able to travel again, number one, but number two, to see people that we haven't seen in a couple of years. Yeah. And you know, we really hope that you know, everything's going to go according to plan. And if you haven't registered yet, for the Pioneer Network Conference, please do. It's going to be something that you won't easily forget. You're going to learn a lot of things.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Brian. And I didn't even prompt that, did I?
Not, but hopefully your check is in the mail.
Well, Brian, thank you so much. We hope you enjoy the beautiful sunny weather you appear to be having down in Florida. And we will see you in Denver, but we'll be hearing from you between now and then too.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Thanks a lot, Joan, and thank y'all for tuning in and watching.